The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised.
Alright, sorry for the little bit of a late start. This is episode 2. Hopefully we're going to get some more listeners in. Today is the day that I answer questions about episode 1. We were going to have KZ do an episode, but we're going to push that off until next week. I've already notified the person in that spot that they're going to be bumped down a little bit, and there was one slot that I had that it was going to be a recording that we were going to play, but that person has since decided that they actually want to be on live, so they're getting bumped to season 2. With that said, welcome to Am I Mental? Again, I am your host, E, and with me, as always, is my co-host, K, or KZ. And it looks like he's maybe...
there we go. It's technical difficulties today.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties. Everything seems to be going a little slow, so sorry about that. So, as of right now, it looks like the chat room is empty. By the way, KZ, if you want to keep track of the chat yourself, just go to the show's main page. Sprecher.com/show/mental-livecast, all lowercase, all one word. They actually made it case sensitive. And you can't use uppercase letters.
Oh.
Which is really weird.
That is odd.
Yeah, so that way you can kind of keep track of what's going on with the chat. And I know you couldn't hear the pre-recorded effects and stuff either.
Yeah.
But yeah, so last week I read my essay, A Blank Page. And I got a lot of feedback from it. Well, I'm not even kidding. I had people talking to me from different places. And mostly what they wanted to know about was coping mechanisms and other ways that different things affect me and stuff of that nature. And honestly, some of it was like coping. Yeah, I just basically just try to write it out. You know, sometimes it gets that bad. The one that really gets me the most, honestly, out of my issues, you know, which are anxiety, depression, seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, and ADD, I would say the one that gets me down the most is anxiety. Hands down. I'm currently on a med for that. It's actually an antihistamine that off-label use is anti-anxiety, which is great because there's something that blooms in the area that every year it tries to choke me to death. Like, I'll get out of the car and start with a slight dry cough, and by the time I get to the building, my throat's trying to close up and I'm having a hard time breathing at all. So, yeah, I don't have that issue anymore, which is great. Also, I took some very serious nerve damage to the tops of my thighs thanks to repeated sunburns from fishing trips. You know, sitting there with these two white bars going across my legs because that's where my arms rest while, you know, trying to do some bass fishing from the back of a boat. And then having a son who at 4 years old, 5 years old, decided it'd be really funny to slap my sunburns as hard as he could. Ever since then, I have endless, tingling like needles in the tops of my thighs. My antidepressant also happens to be great for diabetic nerve pain and nerve pain in general, so I don't have to really deal with that anymore. It was so bad that I wore shorts all the time, mostly because of it. Like, if I wore pants and I sat down, the weight of the denim was enough to trigger off my tops of my legs to start hurting. But yeah, some people were asking. I'm hoping that someone shows up in the chat. Were you able to get the page up, KZ?
Yep, I'm here.
All right.
I don't know what's going on today.
There, I just sent a little message in there. I'm putting out some notifications here. I got my times a little bit mixed up today, too. Come on, everybody. All right. This was okay. Do you see Vanya there? This is the one that really posed the hard questions for me. So yeah, I am down for the questions. And I'm hoping that a few other people will start showing up here soon, too. For some reason, I got my times mixed up. It started thinking 7:30, even though it's flat out 7. Oh, I feel like an idiot. Well, maybe because I am one.
No. I totally was, on a different planet today, man. It was. It's been one of those days. So.
Yeah, well, having quarantine-itis kind of causes it, I think.
Yeah, thankfully, being an essential worker, I get to go out and see the world in the very, very low traffic deal it is now.
Yeah, we went out and did a little errand running today. Mostly just got out and drove with the windows down just to enjoy the fresh air and the sun.
Right.
Yeah, and again, for those that are just listening, there is a bit of a delay. About 7 seconds, I think, between what I say and what you hear. Which would be great if I had the ability to do this little thing called, hitting mute and stuff. Oh, and Angela's on. Awesome. Weird, no one can hear anything. Great, so it looks like even Sprecher may be having some technical issues.
Oh, fun.
Yay! But
it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah, it's just one of those days, I tell you. Now they can hear. So welcome, Angela. Welcome, Vanya. I'm hoping a few other people start popping in here. So, one of Vanya's questions was basically about when I'm having a really bad day and all I want to do is lay in bed. What do I do? How do I cope? How do you or could you address those times when you're so depressed you have no motivation to even get dressed or shower? Yeah, so on those days, Vanya, what I tend to do is the only time I'm able to get up initially is to take care of the kids or take care of the wife. I find it that I can take care of other people, but I really still can't take care of myself. And I have to get dressed if I'm going to take care of other people. But I may not actually shower. I'll get up, get the kids their breakfast, get them dressed, get them to daycare. And I'll grab something to eat on my way home. I'll even take my meds, but then I'll just climb right back into bed, typically, and go right back to sleep, which is the worst thing I could do, especially considering I just ate. And I usually, I know I should be eating things like, fiber and protein, like vegetables and meat and stuff like that. I wind up going carb heavy, which only feeds into depression more, causes me to go into a nearly diabetic coma. So yeah, I am doing myself no favors. So yeah, unfortunately, I wish I had better coping mechanisms myself. And I'm mentally, I am screaming at myself. In my head, I am screaming at the top of my lungs that I can do better than this. That maybe instead of going straight to bed, take that shower first. Knowing that I hate laying down with wet hair. Not that I care what my hair looks like so much, I just hate laying down with wet hair, because then it gets the pillow wet, and then that sucks. So yeah, I need to find ways to do better, and I still remember the book that you recommended to me from, what was that, Jordan Peterson? That gives little ways to make little bargains with yourself that you have that are super easy to, honor, which I really need to do. And one of the things that I also need to do is I need to stop using the word need about things that I have to do. And what I would like to try doing, this is based on one of my therapists, is to invite myself to do things. Like invite myself to take a shower. Invite myself to mow the lawn. and try to bring back the little kid in me a little bit. Like when I'm mowing the lawn, don't look at it as me doing a chore. Maybe look at it as I'm cutting down an empire. You know, and every little blade of grass is like a building or something. Casey's smirking on that one and nodding. Yeah, but you can see that right there.
That's a good one.
But if you're imagining that, it makes you more willing to want to go out and mow. You're like, I'm going to mow down my enemies. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, I have different things I'm definitely working on in that regard. And some of these things, I mean, I went to literally the anxiety treatment center. And I was there in an IOP for 6 weeks, I want to say, maybe 8 weeks. And there's a lot of tools that I was given, but I'm bad, so. Like, you know, journaling every morning about at least one success that I had the day before. Write down 3 accomplishments, even if it is as simple as I got out of bed to go pee. Because, I mean, that's better than the alternative. Any other questions, anybody? Now we wait for the delay. KZ, how about yourself? Do you ever have those kinds of days? KZ? Can you hear me? Oh, wow. We are having some serious problems here. Oh, no! Reconnecting. My live cache just went pooh! You know what? I'm going to restart my computer and I'll be right back. Oh, we're back. Wow. That really sucked. We're having some serious technical issues. I just saw that the thing was reconnecting. And I just lost KZ. Wow. Technical issues up the wazoo. There's KZ again.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you other than lots of issues.
Yeah, actually, I saw for a long time there that my live stream had disconnected and said that it was reconnected. So I have no idea what they heard when I said. I don't know if it buffered and is going to put it all up later or what. Yeesh. Huh. Wow, having some serious technical issues today.
Yeah, first one went through pretty flawlessly, and today's just been a giant cluster.
Yeah, no kidding. The internet's spotty on the West Coast today. Whoo, man. It's all sorts of bad. So what was the last thing that you heard me say, KZ? Or Vanya, or Angela, or anybody?
You were going to the anxiety treatment center was the last thing that I can remember hearing.
So the Vanya said the last thing was mowing the lawn. So yeah, I'd like to wake up the inner kid, is what I was saying. And instead of looking at it as mowing the lawn, look at it more as I'm cutting down the buildings of my enemies. And KZ, of course, he smirked and started nodding. That gets every little boy inside going, yes!
Exactly.
But yeah, and then I said something really deep that I can't even remember what I said. And I asked KZ about those days, and yeah, he was disconnected. I was disconnected. Oh, man, that was bad. But yeah, no, I was just talking about how, I mean, even I went to the anxiety treatment center, and they tried giving me a bunch of different tools to use, and things like write down 5 accomplishments that you did the day before, which could be as simple as I got out of bed and went pee, because the alternative would really suck. And then write a paragraph or a page about one of the things. And then try to find some kind of affirmation thing and write about how it impacted you. And these things really do help. I can tell you that when I was in the anxiety treatment center, they really helped a lot. But I'm bad when it comes to routines. So, yeah, that pretty much sucks. I should start doing that again. I invite myself to do it again. Well, let's just see if I do. Yeah, and did you guys hear the part about my diet in the mornings? How I know that I should be doing like vegetables and fruits and protein, but I usually wind up doing like carb bomb, and then I wind up going into a slight diabetic coma and going right back to bed, which is the worst possible thing to do, because that just draws out the high glucose load in my blood. Being monogenomic diabetic myself. So for those that can't see the chat because you're listening later or whatever, Vandy just said, I wanted to ask you to brainstorm a few small things you could do for yourself as a bargain in trade for fulfilling a chore, etc. I mean, I guess I could do something like... Gosh, I don't know. It's got to be something small. Small chore, small reward. I could see the positives of that. But some of my rewards are so bad. Yay, sound's still cutting in and out. Well, here's hoping that when this is all done, because it is keeping an audio recording of what I'm doing and saying right now, that I could publish that in lieu of what's going live right now and see if that reconnecting again. Yep, and KZ just got pixelated. And we're live.
Yeah.
Oh,
the good news is I can still hear you, so.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely going to see about pushing out the audio file that is recording in the background. That way we can always come back later. No, there is no visual. It's because podcasts typically don't have visual. I know that there are some out there. They're like video casts. But one of the things that I wanted to do was to have anonymity on this. You know, where... I mean, obviously, the people that are in the chat right now, I am personal friends with you guys. You guys know me. I know you. I know KZ. KZ knows me. Obviously, I'm not anonymous to you guys. But later on, as listeners do start popping in... going to become, you know, I want to keep my anonymity. Obviously, if I'm out and about and someone hears my voice and they're like, hey, aren't you E from that Am I Mental live cast? I'll be like, yeah, that's me, and no problem. But I don't really want there to be a lot of the visual part of that. And also, this is going to be very heavily laden with guests. Like next week, KZ is going to go ahead and do his share. And then after that, every week going forward, until the last week, we're going to have special guests doing their shares. But the last week, I have a very special guest lined up. And I'm not telling anybody who it is. It's going to be awesome. And honestly, because, you know, I'm having guests that want to share, I want to maintain their anonymity as well. Privacy is absolute paramount for me. I don't believe that anybody has a right to know who you are unless you want them to know who you are. It is your secret to share, not mine. Let's see, brainstorm a few small things I could do as a bargain and trade for fulfilling a chore. I don't know, start laundry. And they're still saying sound keeps cutting out.
Oh, man.
Reconnecting again? Are you serious? Oh, my Lord. This episode's just going to be called, What the Hell is Going On?
Yeah. Computer's infected by the corona.
Well, good news is that there will be good, clear audio afterwards when I publish that. And I'll have that pushed out to YouTube and Facebook and SoundCloud. We got on to Google Podcasts. Hey, Bex. We got on to Podchaser. We got on to Deezer. We got onto a lot of podcast services. So, yeah, I'm going to see if I could get the clean audio recording that I'm getting to go through for all this. I don't know, Casey, what would you consider as like something you could do for yourself as a bargain in trade for fulfilling a chore?
Oh,
I mean, I know I feel really good when I look back at the art after I've cut it. But that's not really... I mean, that
yeah.
is its own reward, but...
I don't know. I'd say, right now, because I don't get a whole lot of time to do it, but, some video game time.
Yeah, that's probably going to be my go-to is video game time. I used to do where once I got laundry put in the dryer, I would race a little on Gran Turismo until the laundry was done. Then I would move the laundry, fold it, put it away, and then keep racing. Or play a game of Madden or, Major League Baseball, the show, something like that.
Oh, I can't play Madden. It brings out anger issues.
Don't worry about it. 2K has gotten themselves a license with NFL and NFLPA now. Next year, there's going to be NFL 2K
nice.
again.
That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
The last time, the last time I played Madden, it brought out the angry little kid in me, and I was hollering at the TV so much I was seeing spots.
Yeah, the last good Madden game was 25. They really pulled out all the stops on that one. But everything before it and after is just crap. But that's not what we're talking about here today.
No, definitely not. Ugh.
So yeah, some video game time would be okay for me. Taking a walk. I love to take walks. I absolutely love it. I used to do periscopes when I walked. Bex remembers that. Vanya remembers that. Vanya used to ask me all sorts of crazy-ass questions on that, too. Yeah, so grand total for last week, we got a whole 28 listeners. For our first episode, that ain't too bad.
Not half bad.
It's a start. And
yeah.
And last time
for sure.
Last time we had one person to chat. This time we have 3. If it keeps growing this way. So yeah, I would have to say for me, let's see here. Is there anything you try to and stop yourself from getting into the depression when you feel it starting? Ooh, that's a really good question. It depends on if it's my usual depression or if it's my seasonal depression. And we're reconnecting again. Awesome. If it's my seasonal depression, if it's light out, I'll go take a walk out in the sun. Otherwise, I have a sun box, like a 10,000 lux sun box that I can go ahead and turn on. The nice thing about this one is it has varying brightnesses and also has yellowing to white light, so that way in the evenings I can drop it down to the yellow light, which is, good for the mind. If I know that there's the crazy thing is during the winter time, I could feel rainstorms when they're coming because my anxiety goes through the roof before the storm breaks. And when the storm breaks, my depression just plummets into hell. And all I can really do then is recognize that this is what it is and just grin and bear it. Cup of coffee by myself or get some ice cream. Oh, well, I like coffee to an extent. It's not my go-to. I prefer diet soda myself. I like cold and bubbly. I kicked my energy drink habit. It has been over a year since the last time I had an energy drink. And my gut has been so thankful for it. Ice cream, that would just feed into my depression as much as I love it. Maybe a frozen yogurt instead. And yeah, watching a show or a movie. I have quite a few shows I want to catch up on, or there's some movies I still need to see. I also have my audiobooks to catch up on. So yeah, those are actually pretty good ideas. Thanks, Vanya. And I remember my AMA walks were awesome. Too bad you weren't around for those, KZ. You would have loved them.
Yeah, no, I kind of I don't know. I got a few of my own.
I don't think you actually heard what I was talking about.
I'm pretty. I well, at least the audio sounded like you were talking about animes.
No, AMA. Ask me anything.
Oh, AMAs. Oh, okay, I totally heard animes. I'm like, I watch a few, but no, not. I haven't. I didn't catch any of the AMAs.
And now Bex to say, call your non-bio sister. Actually, honestly, as much of a boost as I am for my non-bio sister when she needs up, she is just as much of a boost to me. So yeah, that would be a good reward too. And I did talk to Vanya once on the phone. I got to do that again. It was so much fun. We have way too much in common though. And we're reconnecting again. And we're live again. Wow, this is just all sorts of bad. Yeah, sorry about that, Angela. That's right, Bex. I am your human Prozac. Come on. What else you guys got? What other questions you have? I know that some of you did listen to my essay. Yeah, that is a great question. What can you do when everyone is stuck inside and online? Honestly. And I know that this is not exactly what people want to hear during this COVID quarantine, especially in the cities and states where you're being given the, how'd they term that exactly? Basically, they're giving you the stay at home. It's like the sanctuary at home or whatever they're calling it. I get in the car with my kids and we go find a nice secluded spot out in the woods there where there's nobody, and we go romp around in the woods for a little while. Other than that, definitely social media has been helpful, but damn, I gotta stay out of the politics. That just brings me down. Gotta stay more in the group chats. Those help a lot. FaceTiming friends and family helps a lot. Just playing board games with the family is awesome. My littlest ones, my youngest daughter, absolutely whoops my ass in memory. But when they're 4.5 years old, their short-term memories are flawless. What about you, KZ? What are you guys doing? I mean, you're an essential worker, so you get to go out.
I do get to go out being an essential worker, but as far as staying home and that, we busted into the board games. We've been playing a few of the tiny epic games that I've got.
Yeah, I gotta check those out.
They're a blast. They are a blast, and they're pretty simple, and they don't take very long to play from beginning to end. It's kind of nice. Movies. Found out I can use my my Google Rewards credits to rent movies on Google. We've been doing that a bit.
Yeah, I love my Google's rewards.
Oh God, yeah, it's been great. Music, movies, and all that fun stuff. But it's just one of those like last weekend. I have a small problem with authority sometimes, so we decided to not listen to the stay at home, and we went down and visited some family south of here, and that was probably the quickest down and back trip we've ever made, and there was no traffic. It was kind of nice.
Yeah, I need to go and check on my parents. My mom is immunocompromised, and my dad's retired. They're both my dad's just shy of the at-risk age range. Both of them are former smokers. So, it'd be nice to just go check on them.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
I mean, honestly, I'm just using that as an excuse because I could just FaceTime them, but, no, neither of us
Yeah,
are
I
very
just-
good with authority. If it makes sense, yeah, no problem. If it doesn't make any sense,
Yeah, I don't have to worry about catching something if I'm just driving down the road. Be careful pumping gas, that sort of thing. But
carry some
you know,
alcohol
if
wipes.
that's exactly it. Alcohol wipes, some hand sanny.
Yep. All right, so the question, can you talk a little bit more about your anxiety since you said that's what hits you the hardest? What does it feel like? How do you get through it? So, when my anxiety does hit me the hardest, and KZ and I did talk a little bit about this, it feels like I'm having a heart attack. That's where in my essay I'm talking about, I can't acknowledge that. About the whole thing about I lost my grandfather. He was only in his mid 50s when he died of a heart attack. And my lost an uncle in his late 40s to a heart attack. And do I plan on writing more and sharing it? Well, eventually, yeah. It's just I have to be in the right headspace to write, which isn't very often. But it could get to the point where my chest starts to tighten. I start to feel tightness and tingling in my left arm. A lot of times, though, when I feel that, it's usually because I'm dehydrated. I've learned that about me, which is nice. But then I start thinking about maybe I'm having a heart attack, and then I start getting throbbing in my head, and then it's like, well, maybe this is a stroke, and it gets really hard to breathe. Everything gets really tight, and I went to the ER once because of this. And, yeah, the dispatcher was not very pleased that I was driving to the ER. I was like, if this is a panic attack, I should be able to get there safely. If this is a heart attack, I'm going to be pulled over on the side of the road real quick when it gets really bad. But I got there. They immediately took me in and they hooked me up to machines and found out that I had a normal sinus rhythm for the hour that they had me in there. And by the time I got hooked up to the machines, I was already coming down from it because most panic attacks only last 5 minutes. So one thing I've also do now, as of now, I have a playlist that I made in Apple Music called My Chillness. If I start feeling anxious, I will pop in my headphones and I'll listen to that. And one song in particular always gets me through. It's from Midas. It's called For Miles and Miles. That song is my Prozac. That song is my mellow out. That song is amazing. And I can usually get through it from that. If I don't have battery power or anything through it, I've learned that singing helps me to get through it. Just observing nature. Just get my mind off of it. That's the key, is you got to get your mind off of it. Bexer just sharing a tip is to suck on an ice cube. Works because it forces your brain to concentrate on something else. Not choking on the ice cube, probably. And not biting down on the delicious ice cube. Yeah, I've talked to quite a few people down for panic attacks. Which is funny, because that's actually, if I'm having a panic attack and someone reaches out to me because they're having one, my panic attack goes away almost instantly because I'm doing something else. Which is kind of fun and funny. But yeah, that's one way to tell the difference between a heart attack and a panic attack is 5 minutes. That's all it takes. I put ice packs in my husband's hand. He sneezes up and thinks he's dying of a couple times a year. Yeah. Yeah, panic attacks are no bueno, man. They are bad. And that's actually the Anxiety Treatment Center, all about that. Turns out OCD is an anxiety disorder. That's why they do a lot with that. Yeah, I figured that was autocorrect because I was going to say, wow, you put ice packs in your husband's hand, he sneezes? That's awesome. Yeah, no, those definitely are ways to help get through it, and we're reconnecting again. Okay, we're live again. Well, it seems like the West Coast issues are getting a little bit better. These little spurts are getting further and farther between and shorter.
Oh yeah, no, my oldest here, she's for the last couple of days with the whole stay at home, do schoolwork, that sort of thing. I've had nothing but complaints about my connection here at the house.
Yeah, your amazing connection that suddenly just isn't as amazing.
Yeah. No, so ended up switching back to our other connection that we hadn't canceled yet, and it kind of works a little better. Just kind of depends on if the stars are aligned and all that fun stuff. But
Yeah, no, I've been running a constant ping at one point, and getting at worst, I was getting about 20% packet loss. Which, I mean, you worked in internet and ISPs, you know how bad 20% packet loss is.
yeah, it's the internet's a little congested with everybody staying at home.
Yep. So what else you got out there? I mean, does that pretty much answer it for you, Vanya? Yeah, a lot of my family knows about my mental health issues. They've been very supportive. In the immediate household, extremely supportive, which is awesome. I wouldn't have my Sunbox without my wife, to be completely honest. She bought me one and then found out there was a better one, got me that. I have an alarm clock that it simulates a sunrise and plays some nice gentle music for me. And it can also simulate a sunset to help me go to sleep at the right time. Sleep hygiene is very important for depression. Like, oh my God, important for depression. And it helps a lot with anxiety. When I'm having an anxiety attack, I just have to let them know, and distractions start coming my way, which are helpful because distractions is the key to getting through the panic attack. Even talking my way through it helps a lot. I can't talk myself through it. I just make it worse when I talk to myself. But answering someone else's questions will help me get through it. I don't know if KZ's ever had a panic attack. I just remember there was someone else I was talking to about panic attacks.
I've had a couple. Yeah, usually it's I just grit my teeth and just kind of sit back and try to cope with it. Yeah, I've got a similar, family history of, relatives dying early on that, it's like, oh, Lordy. But, yeah, no, I've had a few, especially with my other health issues where it's like, oh God, is this happening again? And then that turns into a panic attack. And then it's like, okay, no, I brought this on myself. I can get through it. And, yeah. But yeah, they're definitely not fun.
Yeah, as for like my parents, my sister, and other friends and family, they knew about it. They're just now really starting to know what it's really getting to. I spoke to my dad. He did listen to the first episode, and he may be even listening right now. And he said it was really, really hard for him to get through. He said that he felt like he really let me down a number of times in life when I needed help the most. And I let him know that, this was like the 80s and 90s. Didn't know nearly as much then as we do now. And he really did the best that he could with the knowledge that he had and the experience that he had, while also trying to be doing what's best for the family as a whole as well. And I hold absolutely nothing against him at all. Different generation, mental health was not such a big issue. It wasn't until my last job that I had that mental health, even at work, wasn't considered a big issue. And in my last job, a very common phrase is mental health is still health. If you need to take a day off for mental health, do it. Use it as sick time. So that's what we did. And it was really helpful. But yeah, so Dad, if you're still listening right now, seriously, I hold nothing against you at all. You did the best you could, and I appreciate it so much. And the fact that you're even listening to these shows and you're giving me feedback it means the world to me. You know, it shows that you still care, that you're still trying, that you're still fighting. I'm 43 years old now. I've been moved out for quite a while, and it's awesome knowing that you're still supporting me even now. Even though your happy ass is supposed to be retired. So, Bex, Angela, any other questions? I know Vanya will do it again. She is my go-to for questions. I know that. I've had hard sometimes to reach out to family. I'm glad. Seriously, you've helped save. Bex, I may have helped save you, but honestly, you saved yourself. I just helped give you the tools to do it. And I'm not the only one. But yeah, no, seriously, you are one of the greatest examples of what you can do to change your life. And I'm really looking forward to having you on the show. Hint, hint. Exactly, Frania. People without families can still reach out to friends for support. And one of the goals of this live cast is to try to help people make connections with each other, to be able to reach out to each other for help. You know, if people want to drop their information in the chat, that's completely up to them. Maybe make a burner account for, like, you know, chatting online somewhere until you find out that, yeah, you really can get along well. Oh, damn. I don't even remember what I said back then. I think I was asking for extra questions. But yeah, no, I was just going off. Angela, I was talking about how Vanny was saying that people without families can still reach out to friends for support. And I was saying that one of the goals of this live cast is to try to help build that community where people can start reaching out to each other for support. We're all going to have bad days. If you are someone that suffers with mental health problems, like me. And it's nice to know that you have that extra help. And sometimes, as odd and as weird as it seems, a stranger could be easier to reach out to than a close friend or family member. KZ's just sitting there quietly.
Yeah, that is one thing that I have a very hard time doing with any problem, whether it's, you know, in my head or in my life. I'm it's one of those, I don't want to dish my problems onto other people. I would just rather deal with them internally. And I know it's not a healthy thing.
No.
But it's how I cope with it.
Yeah. No, it's definitely reaching out is probably the best thing you can do, honestly.
Yeah.
Everybody needs help somewhere.
Well, yeah, and next week will be a big step anyways, because, you know, like I said, I don't talk a whole lot, and, you know, I'll open up and let everybody know at least a little bit of my life.
You know what? You should probably open up to your wife between now and next week. Or your future wife.
Yeah. No, we've had quite a few talks in the last few months.
Good. Yeah, I know that my wife listened in a little bit last week. So it's like, you know, if I'm sharing it with the rest of the world, why would I want to hide it from her? I don't. It's just that it can be hard to hear.
Yeah.
It's easier to hear a stranger talking about the things that hurt them and where they struggle and where they suffer than it is to hear someone that you care deeply for going through the same thing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Vanya nailed it right there. Like lancing a wound, opening up cleans it out. Exactly. And this audio that I get better be better than what was being pushed out.
Hopefully. Sorry, you know, we can make up for it next week if something horrible goes wrong with the uploading of the audio this week.
Yeah, I mean, we have the chat transcript. I could save it for later. And worst comes to worst, you and me, we could just go and read through it and do an audio recording and throw it out there.
Yeah.
So, Angela, did you get a chance to listen to episode 1? At least to hear the essay? I mean, I had people calling or texting me, calling me, and they said that essay, it was like reading their own lives when I was reading it out. They were hearing their own lives being aired out in front of them. Some people cried. Yeah, this is not meant for the faint of heart. Well, the good news is we got a little extra time on this because of all the cutouts. I notice every time it says that we're reconnecting, the time left ends. It stops moving.
Oh, well, that's good. At least they're not jipping us.
Shout out to Sprecher for that. Yeah, one thing I'm wondering is just how much people that I went to school with realized how badly I struggled. And that's something I'm going to go into more detail later, like season 2, was how bad off I was in school. It was bad. It was really bad. Fortunately, a lot of my old high school buddies on Facebook have been able to see some of my posts where I've opened up about it over the years.
Yeah, that was one part in my life. High school and that was pretty easy. Junior high was kind of a rough area. You come down and get the nickname of Ace, and kind of people start wondering why. But
because they didn't realize
junior high.
They didn't realize the last half was
what's
a hole.
No. Well, when you get caught for shoplifting at Ace Hardware.
Yeah, I can see that. Like why my oldest son got the nickname Crash. He crashed a snowmobile into the side of a church and punched a hole in the wall.
Oh lordy!
Now that was a happy little pun.
Yeah, no, it wasn't until after high school and I started making a few more questionable choices that stuff started hitting the fan a bit more.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about that.
Oh yeah,
and that's actually part of the reason why I picked you for this. That our history together, the fact that we could banter so well, and you've got a few things to open up about too. Things that I don't fully understand either. So,
Yeah, there's some skeletons in there.
Well, I think that we're going to have to wrap it up here. We're about to run out of time. Wait, let's see really fast. What's one major thing you wish someone had told you about mental illness when you were younger? Oh, Bex, thank you for that question. Honestly, I wish that someone would have told me that mental health matters and that there is no shame in looking for help, regardless of what other people may claim or say. Because it was really taboo, in the 80s and 90s. It was really taboo. Especially after the Reagan administration shut down so many asylums and stuff like that. But yeah, I wish that was what was said. I wish that people would have told me that. Would have been great if it came from someone like a parent or a grandparent, but that is what it is. Anyway, Anyway.
No,
go for it.
Yep. Oh, no, I was just going to say that you covered that pretty well. I was going to say I couldn't say it better myself.
Oh, well, thank you. I like on the Brady Bunch. Couldn't have said that better myself, Greg, but I'm going to try anyway. But before we go, quick shout out to someone that's helping to advertise for us. Rachel Conway down at Genuine Psychological Services. She's actually a good friend of mine. I've known her since she was going to school for psychology. If you're in the Mission Valley or Encinitas area, please go ahead and check her out. If it wasn't for the personal relationship and the geographic distance, I would definitely want her to be my doctor. But we have too much of a personal relationship, and there's also the distance thing. But if you're in that area and you need some help, by all means, check her out. She's awesome. She's a good friend for a reason. All right. I guess that's it. So, everybody, thank you for joining. The chat was definitely a lot better this time around. Which I'm kind of sad that, what was his, 7 or 4? 4 is what he called himself. Wasn't here this time. Damn it. But yeah. Next week, it's going to be KZ. Going to be opening up for us all. And then the following week is when we start getting... there we go. Hi, Rachel. And next week is when we're going to go ahead... Or not next week, but the week after is when we're going to go ahead and start getting guests coming in. And we'll see how that goes. Until then, this is Am I Mental? I am E. And with the co-host, KZ. And I guess we'll catch you on the flip side.
Yep.